Coffee black, cigarettes. Start this day like all the rest. Let's get into it.
Got one that can see.
Good evening and good morning and good night, everybody. Welcome to Visual Disturbance. A little intro at the beginning there. I don't know where I'm ever going to go with these. Coffee black, cigarettes, start this day like all the rest. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, we're going to be squatching today, all that good stuff. We're going to be looking at Bigfoot imagery. My first live when it comes to Bigfoot, this Bigfoot series that I'm introducing to Visual Disturbance. But yeah, welcome all truth seekers, cryptic enthusiasts. Anybody who wants to go and finding Bigfoot, we're going to be talking about today, jumping into the south of me. Here I am in the state of Kentucky, but we're going to be going to Tennessee, Rocky Top, Tennessee kind of thing, right? And welcome everybody that's into the UFO phenomenon, paranormal, biblical, and all that jazz. So yeah, welcome to the Visual Disturbance channel. Coffee black, cigarettes, start this day like all the rest, all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about America's most exclusive legend, Bigfoot, how the shadows of all that good stuff when it comes to the overreacting imaginations of folks. And like I said, enthusiasts, people hiking around, and let's get into some squatching today. But before we do that, before we get into today's program, left-hand corner of the screen right behind me, well, actually right in front of me, right below you, right in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, check out SpiracyCon Facebook, and then also check out SpiracyCon.com. You'll be glad you did. But yeah, and then the bottom here, check it out. We got Do You Believe in Bigfoot? Welcome to the Do You Believe in Bigfoot broadcast. But today we're going to be talking about Let's Find Bigfoot in Tennessee. So anybody out there in the Tennessee realm, Tennessee world here on this Friday afternoon, sit back, relax, get a cup of coffee, because I'm feeling pretty good today. Feeling pretty decent today. So I'm a little fired up. I don't have any coffee. I think some people in the chat are talking about some coffee, but yeah, buy me a coffee. How about that? But anyways, let's jump into it. Let's talk about something. So when I think about, before we get into the Tennessee, when I think about Sasquatch and Bigfoot and all that, I think about all these different, let's just say, interdimensional hypothesis. Or you hear about people now talking about, like we talked about in the last broadcast, or we talk about the reptilians, the greys, what have you. But I think a lot of things are hidden from our perception. I think we have been suppressed as far as the knowledge that has either been taken from us or God Almighty just completely suppressed us to protect us, because He knew that we was going to go through the, let's just say, the Gilbarim, the Nephilim chain of events and try to, let's just say, become like Nimrod. We don't want none of that. We don't want to be playing in that devil's advocate. But today, I was going to talk about Tennessee. I've talked about this specific area and all over the United States actually, but I've never showed Google Earth imagery on Tennessee. So, welcome to the broadcast. So, I think in 1979, and I think there was a Duck River in Columbia in Tennessee, a hiker claimed he had face-to-face contact with a Bigfoot about 20 yards away. Okay. And he described it as a massive hairy figure that let out a bone-chilling growl scream before vanishing into the brush. Next day, he found a 4-inch tree snapped and twisted in splinters of height of 6 feet, way too high for a bear. And then you talk about this other event, in Oak Ridge Reservation, a restricted area known for nuclear research. Imagine that. Where I'll tell you what, real quick, before we get into today's program and keep divulging into this, just think about When you see something on there, then I'm going to be decoding the TV series Lost. I'm going to be talking about that in the future, talking about nuclear research and what have you. So stay tuned for that. I don't know what's going to come up, but give me a little time, and we're going to illustrate it, orchestrate it, and all that good stuff, and produce it here on the Visual Disturbance channel. So speaking of nuclear research in this Oak Ridge Reservation, some researchers speculate that there's like this residue radiation or electrical magnetic fields might be attracted to Bigfoot. Like Bigfoot's rolling up and be like, hey, can I get a little puff on that? You know, the stuff in the sky is already wearing me out, but I'm becoming more intelligent, you know. I'm being sarcastic there. Or maybe the tight security just made it just a perfect hideout is what I thought. Or just throw out some key points here, including the Cherokee National Forest. At the state park, there's some dense remote enough to support a creature that is a master of evasion to avoid humanity. But it seems like things have been hidden, like I said a few minutes ago, and I'm going to take you to Tennessee. Let's just jump into it. Let's get into it. So Tennessee is not as, well, you hear a lot of stories, but when I have my Google Earth up here and I show the accounts, that it'll baffle the mind. Anywhere from 1799 all the way to 2016 is what this algorithm or this Google Earth KMZ file is showing me. So let's get into it. Let's show you. Let's squatch it. Let's squatch it together. So all these tags on, if you're just new to the Bigfoot series here, all these indicator blues, greens, reds, all these tags on the screen here are Bigfoot encounters. Okay, Bigfoot. So we're going to go to the big state of Kentucky. I'm just joking. Big state of Tennessee. Let's go to this 1997 event and let's just see what happened. Let's just see what's going on. Let's see what's going on with this Tennessee narrative. So, 1997, fall season, state Tennessee, county, the Canyon County, nearest town, Woodbury. And then the nearest road, it says unknown. Big shout out to the Bigfoot Field Research Organization that supplied this data. This was observed in 1997. This is according to the Observer. I was in the employ of the Canyon County Sheriff's Department. As a detention officer, one of the dispatchers called me back to the workstation to tell me if a report she had received containing information about a possible Bigfoot sighting in the area of Short Mountain. After the call hung up, we all had a good laugh, thinking the woman to be intoxicated. But after reading the report posted on this site, however, I feel this information could be used to you. So the description she gave matched in one of your postings, especially the incredible speed it displayed when she screamed at the sight of the creature this happened quite some time ago. The details are foggy. Sorry, I could not be more of a use. And that was interesting. Like I said, in these programs, I just randomly pick a tack and it gives me the information. So I don't get into these. I love these random shows. So I don't have any preconceived knowledge. I just push on one and roll with it. So the time and conditions are night, and then the environment was house located in Short Mountain area. If anybody out there in the Short Mountain area, comment below. Heavily wooded, several type of trees located in the woods. So that one was not as entertaining or as fun. Let's jump into something else. Let's go back to Google Earth and let's try for another one. This was close. That area was close to Woodbury. Remember that. Let's go to Rock Island. Well, there's not one in Rock Island. Let's move on. Let's see. Let's go to a 2006 account. Let's do a 2006 account. Why not? Why not? So this is in Wilson County in 2006, fall, November. Location, this one looks like a good one. The location is the northeastern part of the middle, Tennessee. It's only half an hour away from Cumberland Plateau area. It was the Greenville, Tennessee in the west, Wilson County. No further directions, please. Just want to let y'all know, if you're all just now tuning into Visual Disturbance, sometimes I can't see well. No joke. Go back and watch some of my videos, and I make mistakes because my vision is, let's just say, not like it used to be. So give me some slack. You know, all that good stuff. Continue on. So Greenvale Road, approximately 1 mile observed. I heard a series of screams, howls that are not only of any animal I know to be in the state of Tennessee. There was apparently 2 creatures, I would guess, within a half a mile of my location. One creature was far left, where the valley appears to be at the end. The other was to my far right, at the opposite end of the valley. These creatures were communicating without question. There came a blailing scream in a sequence of 3 in the left. It paused to 2 or 3 seconds between each scream. That's scary. The first caught me off guard. I thought a man could have fallen and been hurt in the woods. It sounded like at first it was just to be a large person yelling with all their might. But at the second and the third scream, I knew this was not a person. I had the tone of a person's battle cry, but sounded as if it came from within a chest size of a full-grown round bull. It literally vibrated the trees in my head, and that's weird. After the third scream and the echoes faded, I tried to think of the logical explanation for the sounds, but before I could come to the conclusion, the screams were answered by nearly an identical sound and volume scream from my far right. These 2 were enough to shake the woods. That's strange. Let's talk about that here in a second. And we're also in the series of 3, and at the point I knew was that what I was hearing was a pair of Sasquatch. Well, if anybody's ever kept up with the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot in all these different areas, and especially in Oregon, I've heard many stories about this. Sound waves, harmonics, we talked about this all the time on here on the Visual Disturbance channel. And it makes me resonate because I'm thinking about if I was a hunter and I was out in the middle of the woods and I was out here in Tennessee in this 2006 narrative or what have you, and I started hearing some kind of gut-wrenching scream from God knows where. Am I going to try to run after it? Probably more than likely not. But the point is like it's actually calling. It's actually, according to this gentleman's account, you could hear it, the trees vibrating, and in his head. Isn't that strange? It's almost like it was diverting him, or maybe trying to call him forth to see if the human would come forth and say, hey, come on, little buddy. We'll take you on into the woods like we did your ancestors. You know, a little Nephilim kind of concept. Maybe not, maybe it is, what have you. According to this other account, the witnesses, it was myself. I was deer hunting in the woods, had been eerily still, no birds, squirrels, deer, coyote, howls, nothing moving, nor noise all morning. And then it goes on, other stories, none. Just kind of telling you the summary of all of it. I heard anything like I before or since, except for the recordings provided in the site here, and the times and the conditions. I want to point that out. Mid-morning, overcast, and cold. Imagine that. The environment was a typical mix with hardwoods of Tennessee, very thick, dense, covered with a maximum visibility of 100 yards. It was on a ridge line, and below a saddle between the high hill tops. The property is a privately owned, landlocked. Our access runs 1 mile from the road to our line. This is a very rural area. Imagine that. On the last program we did, it was just an upload. I remember reading one of them, and in one of them, and another one, they all claimed about the time frame was like early morning, like right after midnight, like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. There was these accounts where they're in the woods, cold temperature, climate, all that's different, mountain range, forestry, all these different things. And it makes you just wonder. Let me get a drink of water. It makes you wonder what's really going on here. It really does. It really does. So, let's go to Lebanon. Let's go to Lebanon, 1990. But before we do that, I'll click on it real quick and make sure I mark it. What's your all's take? Comment below in the comment box below. We really appreciate it here at the Visual Disturbance community. And I just want to take a few moments here to acknowledge the chat. Thank you all for being with me here today on this random broadcast I decided to do today. And big shout out to DGS MMA. What's happening? I hope you're doing well out the west side of me, the west area. Big shout out to you, my friend. Ruth, big shout out to you. And all those good people out there that's on here on the Visual Disturbance channel. Get you a cup of coffee and popcorn, all that good stuff. We got a busy weekend. I'm just letting you know we got a busy weekend. So, and I'll talk about that here after a while. So, 1990, no joke, Lebanon. I think there was a Lebanon. I think there's a Lebanon, all kinds of different places. Let's go to it. Let's get it. All right, here we go again. Here's another account. It's the same county. Isn't that interesting? The year 1990, 1994, the season was winter. That's strange to me. January of 1990, the 15th, Tennessee State, all that good stuff. We know where we're at. Wilson County. Location, the area is off I-40. I've been down that quite a few times in my life. The new I-840 has been built since the events, blah, blah, blah. That's what I was referring to. Nearest town, Lebanon, Tennessee. Nearest road, Franklin Road. Let's talk about it. Observed when I was a boy. That was about 10 years ago. I was walking in the snow one morning on my grandmother's farm. I came across some footprints in the snow that would be approximately the size and the shape of an adult human's foot. But with one exception, both feet had only 4 toes. It must have been some bad days going on with the Sasquatch. Got in some trouble with some maybe a cougar out there or a mountain lion. The area was rural, but is populated, and the particular area is open field that is in plain view. Well-traveled road. Similar tracks appeared in the snow the following year. Unfortunately, I was too young to drive to the store for film, and no one else in the family seemed to care about my findings. Several years later, approximately 1993, 1994, I had another strange experience on the small farm. I never connected the two events until reading some of the other stories on the website. One night I stepped out into the house into a carport. The carport was brightly illuminated, but none of them other exterior lights were on. This made it impossible to see out tides of the of a carport. As I stepped out of the house, something screamed at me from the darkness like I have never heard. It was not human, it was wild, but in the sound more like a human than animal. It seemed to be both a human and a scream of terror. I was told that it was probably a wildcat. Wow. But then I believed it would be a sound like a cat at all. I wasn't aware the screaming was associated with Bigfoot, and I was wondering how the number of toes I mentioned early in the order. And like it says here, 1994, 1993, the witnesses is just a little kid, and it was an open field in a residential area. I think that's interesting. But what is these stuff? Let's just pause here for a second. Let's divulge into, let's just think about what we're talking about here. Let's focus on something here. What is really going on, everybody? Like, literally, the drama going on, not to get too far off the subject matter tonight. But that's why I did this program today. I figured it'd be a fun-filled program, get everybody invited in, stoked about something, just even though it's a cryptid creature and it's like a paranormal concept and Nephilim and all that, Bigfoot, what have you. But what's really going on in our reality? We got a soapbox, the Days of Our Lives contest, matching boxing of, there's a certain term that I will not talk about. There's certain individuals going at it over, let's just say, power. And it's becoming pretty apparent that we ain't in the club, and they ain't going to find us in the club either. And we're going to be washed away, or the cataclysm, right? Or the Bigfoot and the cicadas, like I said in the last broadcast. I guess they're warning that the great shift is coming. And it's getting old. It's getting old. Maybe the Bigfoot are going to start squalling like Chewbacca or something, whatever. And letting us know that we're in ultimate danger. I mean, come on. And that's why I did this program. It's a little fun, a little relaxed. It's not overwhelming. It's just laid back. Because every time you turn the TV on, every time you turn the internet on, every time you turn any kind of social media, we know who we're talking about. Mr. T and Mr. E going at it. And maybe they're just trying to tell us that they have advanced their mechanisms of AI, and maybe there's something hidden here when it comes to military applications and Bigfoot. Maybe Bigfoot has something to it as far as the technological advancements, and maybe there's something that's knee-deep into this phenomenon and this cryptid creature, dogman, what have you. But maybe Bigfoot is something of a offspring of us. Maybe. Who knows? Welcome to the broadcast. Sorry to go on a tangent. Sorry to go on a tangent, but I had to. I had to break the ice on that one because been weighing me. It's been a little strange here lately. A little strange. Let's go to 1989. 1989. Anybody out there from the 80s? Anybody out there from the 80s, folks? All right. 1988, 1989. Back to the Future we go. Summer season, August the month. Tennessee State, Rutherford County. And we're going to be rocking this thing. So check this out. So observed, I was coming home from the work one night in the summer of 1988 to 1989. It was about 8:50 p.m., dark, and there was a heavy fog on the ground. Wait. There was a heavy fog? What? I bet you they didn't get the, I guess they didn't get the memo back then. The silica dust has been puffing around. I guess they was getting it back then in 1988. You know, just didn't know it because you didn't know that the nefarious evil plots against the people, we have technology that will surpass the Atlanteans. I can't help it. I have to rant when I hear something that just like critiques my mind. It just it just triggers me. Can't help it. Go watch another show that I've talked about, silica dust and the Great Fog. Dark, and there was a heavy fog on the ground. I had low beams on. And better to see through the ground fog, which was about 1 to 2 deep, 2 feet deep in the most places. This area was in Percy Priest Lake, was sparsely populated, and there was no homes or no street lights. It's 6 miles from the nearest town. My place was one of the few homes along the stretch of the road. As I turned down the road, around 35 miles an hour, the fog, I saw something move on the right-hand side of the road, but I'm by guessing from my driveway, which was on the left. The area was moving, was fresh clearing in the woods where a new home was built in the later that year. Having seen some deer come across the road at night, I thought it was a deer coming across the road, slowed down, and prepared to stop. When I was perhaps guessing from it, hit the brakes hard, terrified to see a Bigfoot Sasquatch stepping out onto the road. He looked towards my car for no more than a few seconds. Then he proceeded across the road in a walk. He went down to slight embankment where there was some felled trees, rock, rubble, and other things in the ground from the construction crew. This lot on the left-hand side was in the process of being cleared from another home. It had joined my property and watched in utter shock, hands shaking, unable to move, has simply vanished into the fog and darkness. Imagine that, folks. The darkness. He had to be able to see the dark and negotiate that partly cleared lot. He never looked back because he's not scared of you. That's what it is. He's not scared of you. He's like, foolish human, foolish human. He made no threatening moves. I got the impression he just wanted to go his way and be left alone. I'm going to pause there for a minute. I did a show not too long ago, and we talked about this. Here's my hypothesis. Here's my theory. Okay, here's my conclusion to this. You hear a lot of people talking about the Bigfoot getting hit by a car, or people dodging the Bigfoot and the Bigfoot coming across the street. And I'm just going to say it. I think these things are either like this mysterious fog and all the things going on at Skinwalker Ranch. I think some of these things, they come and go as they please. There's a dimensional gate rift, okay? And they're showing up, they're like, they don't even see it. You know, it's like Harry and the Hendersons, the movie that came out in like 1991 or 92 or something like that, early 90s. You know, there's something about it. Like, it's the climate, it's the elements of the air, and whatever sets it off, something shows up. Blood element, something to that level. Now you see me, now you don't kind of thing. Or fee fi fo fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Dang, you stink, son, right? Dang, you smell sulfur. It's time to run. You feel me? So Sasquatch is stepping out on the road, all that good stuff. And then it goes on. I sat there for some time before the shaking stopped enough for me to drive. No other cars passed. But when it was calm enough, I drove down the driveway and parked there. Window open a bit to listen. It was silent except for some usual crickets. I see nothing moving around my home. The outside light was on, and my 2 dogs, as usual, suddenly appeared out of the darkness to greet me. I got the car as close as the front porch as I possibly could, got my key ready ran up to the steps as quickly as I could get inside. Once inside, I locked every window, bolted the door. Dang, this guy was scared. And waited for the roommate to get home. Although this creature was not all threatening, I couldn't shake the fear that it would come looking for me. I had never heard of one of those animals harming anyone, but I feared lingered. It was a truly terrifying experience. For weeks, I could not sleep at night. I would fall asleep at dawn and wake up in the time to go to work. And this is his description. The creature was no more than 6 feet tall. Man, he must have been short in the stick when it comes to the genetics. Must have been half chimpanzee or something. Fully covered with a reddish brown fur, including his face. It was not built like a Sasquatch pictures I have always seen on TV or in the papers. It was more slender and man-like. Not apish at all. From the distance I could see all the facial features except to see his face was covered in fur. Since there was no prominent breast and genitalia, I hate to get gross, but that's what it says, it was covered with long hair. I'm assuming it was a male. I still live in the same place and never seen this creature again. The area is much more built by up now. They may have moved in the less populated area around the lake. And this is what he noticed. Nothing unusual. It was seen and heard either before or after the incident. No witnesses, other stories. Who would have mentioned something like this to their neighbor? They would think that this is crazy and delusional. Most people are still stating themselves, and there's no social to start with, so no. And time and conditions, it happened around 8:15 or 8:50. This was the heavy ground fog, which is unusual near the lake where I live. Isn't that interesting? The environment, my roads at the time ran through a heavy cedar. There it is. I knew it. I knew I was going to come up with something like that. My road at the time ran through some heavy cedar oak, hackberry, elm, and Judas trees forest. The land had recently been divided into lots and lots before sold and developed in the time. It was I was the first person to move out there. If this lake lies about 1/4 of a mile away from the crow files, there are no outstanding landmarks, and it was all heavily wooded and full of wildlife. Huh, imagine that. So, if you went back and watched the other 2 videos I've done on this, so I have to think about this for a minute and ponder on the idea that the cedar, it's always the cedar. There's like some type of like, when I click on these tabs, click on these tags, there's always a cedar. Okay, cedar oak. Cedar, an oak tree, what have you. Yes, I understand Tennessee, Kentucky is like, let's just say massively loaded with trees, okay? But it seems like every account that these individuals, even in Kentucky, they're like mention cedar, and I think that's interesting to me. I wonder if there's like some type of like, when the Bigfoot's running, right? It's just going through the motions, or he's just walking, hey, what's up? What's up, human? Your little metal car, doing whatever he's got to do. I wonder if there's like something he's coming in and out in the portal, this gate, whatever he's doing, whatever, his hair follicles, whatever resonates, invisibility, whatever, cloaking, Predator-like from 1980s and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, something like that, right? From the Predator series, anything like that. What is it? Are we looking at alien tech? I mean, here's a fun fact. I don't know if you've followed me for a long period of time, but years ago I talked about this cloaking mechanism, this cloaking technology that our military had, cloaking graded like invisibility. Okay, they can go around and disappear and vanish from thin air, blah blah blah, and then it kind of makes you wonder: are we getting played on that too? Like when it comes to these national forests and all this forestry, hey man, let's do a rendering of Chewbacca with a holographic technology. Let's just get the folks scared so we can move them out of the way so we can build us some smart cities up here out back. I mean, seriously, folks. Like, for real. Let's think about some things logically. Let's critically think for a few moments in time. I mean, look at the 2025 and how it's unraveling, okay? Let's think about things, okay? Simplified, narrow it down, and just think. I'm not the best or the smartest person that ever walked this realm of Earth, but I would say that I try to be open-minded when it comes to things. I don't sit back and just be closed off and just act like that nothing's going on. So, could these things have some type of like mixed feelings when it comes to military applications. Does the military, do they know? They have to. Let me explain why. And I'll show you, actually. So these military areas, I wasn't going to go here, but I'm going there. Let's go there together. Let's see what happens. If you click on, I have a place where, see right here, this red indicator light, this bullseye on the screen. Let me just zoom in so y'all can see it right here. This is a military, like either base or small specimen of something, like I have like just a station or office or what have you. But most of these are military bases in some shape or form. And it's kind of ironic that all these blue tacks are kind of like in that area, in that vicinity. Isn't that kind of strange? If you back up a little bit, you got Nashville, you got a red indicator light there for a good old military base. You go back and there's all this activity going on. Well, yeah, I know you got Arnold Air Station here, but that's just an air station, okay? That's just an air station. But you go through here and you got all these ley lines. I even got the ley lines on there for you guys. You got these sacred ley lines of energy waves used for, let's just say, of the spiritual application in some shape or form, which humanity does not understand to this day. They can only kind of digress and try to play around into the academia world to dumb yourself down even more. So anyways, this you got Fort Campbell and all these different areas. It's just interesting, these ley lines, and you have all this activity with these blue tacks everywhere. It's just very compelling to me. And, the heart of Kentucky here, the Bluegrass State around the Bowling Green area, I mean, good night. Are you kidding me? And so we have all this military action, and it's just speculation, just a little theory on my end. Okay, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just throwing out my ideas. I'm kind of mixing it and talking about, like I do on my what ifs program. I'm kind of mixing them here a little bit. So what if, right? So think about it. Look at this. I mean, let's just turn the Bigfoots off. Let's turn the Bigfoot off for a minute. And 1 second, let me turn it off here for everybody. There we go. So all these military applications, look at all these military bases, okay? And all these ley lines, okay? Look at all this. And Appalachian Mountains would be a good place to shield. So when you think about the Indian Native Americans talking about these giant men, giant people coming out, and they're having to fight them, and 6 fingers, 6 toes, and Nephilim, all that good stuff. And then you also find 5 finger, 10 fingers, 10 toes. You got 8 footers, 10 footers, what have you. And you see the Native Americans speaking about this in the mounds. Like, oh, yeah, there's some big thing coming out of the woods and trying to take our folks. Well, could it be wrong that we're talking about one and the same? The giants of old, the Nephilim, the Gilbarim, and then there's just an offset incursion of a hybridization program that's just not too advanced. You know what I'm saying? They might be red-haired or brown-haired or whatever, and run around here wild man. Smell like sulfur all the time, right? And to me, that's just bizarre. Like, it's just bizarre to me. And let's stay back on task. Let's go back. Let's get some Bigfoot going here. I'll turn off. Well, let's just keep the military going. Let's just keep it going. So as you can see by the diagram here and the Google Earth imagery, we could be sitting here for an eternity, because if you can kind of zoom out, let's just say it kind of slows down and bogs down a little bit. Look at the east side of the America. Now, folks, I don't know about you guys, but when you look at, my neck of the woods in Kentucky, all the way Ohio, all the way up in Michigan, all the way up into in Rhode Island or Maine, what have you, it's insanity, right? Like, look at all this. Look at this. This is from 1799 to 2016 data. I mean, my goodness, folks, look at that. Look at all that. And so these are accounts. These are documented accounts. Factual documented accounts. Just the other day, I was looking at one, the Kentucky Bigfoot research from Charlie Raymond. I just randomly picked on one on that last episode and picked on one. There it was. I didn't have any any kind of preconceived knowledge or anything like that. I clicked on attack, and there he was. Charlie Raymond's coming to SpiracyCon, and a huge Bigfoot researcher. And I mean, look at that. Let me just zoom in for you guys. Look at that. I mean, would you look at that? But seriously, look at it. I mean, it's all the way up and down Florida. Anybody out here in the Appalachian Mountains, look at the inundation. I mean, come on. And they're all from 1973. We can sit here and zoom in 1973, 1980, 2010. I mean, all the above. let's go for one more. Let's go for one more. What do you say? What do you guys say? I'm gonna click on. I'm gonna click on 2011. 2011. It shall be 2011. A little bit closer. Can you all believe it's 2025? I mean, my goodness, folks. Time is flying by. It's slipping into the future, right? I'm just kidding. Well, not really. 2011, season summer, September. Imagine that. 15th. Everything happens in September. I'm just throwing it out there. Tennessee, Perry County, Flatwoods, Indiana, or Lindale, Flatwoods, Lindale. So let's jump on in. I am an avid outdoorsman. I might have read this one on the last episode. I'm not 100% sure, but we're going to go for it. And I canoe and camp on a regular basis, mostly by myself. Nobody spends the time in the wild anymore. On my most recent canoe camping trip, I had to set out at camp, started a fire, and I just as finished my dinner around 9 p.m. I had my drinks in the water. I had my drinks in the water. I had put my drinks in the water on the edge of the river, and I was walking down the edge of the river to grab on. When about 10 yards of the edge, I heard a big splash. Something being thrown or dropped in the water. Let me guess, it's probably some rocks. I didn't pay attention to it, so I kept on walking. Then as I approached the edge, another even bigger splash was made that I could see the large rock that made it fly through the air, hitting about 10 yards from where I was. I froze, and then all the hair on my body stood straight up. I shined my LED light over to the area and saw a set of eyes for about 2 seconds before they vanished. I fired my pistol to scare off anyone that thought it would be messing with me, but no response. And this was this was on the weeknight where the possibility of someone roaming the area was not likely. I quickly packed my gear and left for home. The next morning I came back to the site to look around, heard something rustling in the brush, and then I heard knocks and the steady pattern of 3. Imagine that. I grabbed a piece of driftwood and knocked back. This continued for around 5 minutes until I heard a car coming, so I stopped because I didn't want to give any curiosity to anyone, and I didn't want anyone to think I was crazy. I left, came back for 4 days later and spotted a track. The track was around 4 inches long, then my shoe foot, which is a size 12. So here's what he noticed: stick knocking, rock throwing, and footprint. He was the only witness, and this was in the river edge, cloudy, windy day, winds from the north. So, if you just watched the last one we did, we talked about the knocking. I think I briefly talked about, mainly we talked about rocks thrown. And when I think about the rock throwing too, I will just throw us out here my 2 cents on this. Kid you not. So think about this. If you out in the woods and you're wanting to go hunting, or you're reconning the area, let's get a drink of water. If you're reconning the area and you're trying to go around thinking about how you're going to strategically lay out the map, the topography, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, your ins and outs, what you're going to do. And you start seeing and you start hearing stuff thrown around, and it distracts you. But then you're going to think, well, the woods is falling down. There's a bird. There's a plane. There's the smoke in the sky. Yay. There's some more fun facts. I'm trying to be goofy and fun today because the world's on fire. Okay. The world's on fire, and I'm trying to be just upbeat about it. I'm not that it's on fire, that I'm not upbeat about that, but I'm trying to be upbeat in a dark realm, dark world. So when I think about this and I think about if this was me and I was in the woods and I hear rocks thrown at me. Okay, so here's the way I perceive this. So if the rocks are being thrown, and I always thought that Bigfoot, Nephilim, whatever have you, these hybridization, they're almost like sonar. They have some type of ability to throw rocks because they can't see you, like the account earlier when the guy the Bigfoot turns his back and he just goes on about his merry business, right? Well, here's my 2 cents. If it's a rock and they're trying to get sound waves to bounce off the ground, or sound waves to bounce in the water to see ripples. So the ripples would go, and then all of a sudden there would be imagery. Have you ever watched the movie Daredevil back in the day with Ben Affleck? I think they did a pretty decent job showing and articulating how that would be. It was years ago, but the vibration of the Daredevil film, he would start picking up sound like a bat, right? And it makes me think if that's what the Sasquatch or these Bigfoot characters, these individuals are doing. They're controlling mechanisms. It's like primitive, but not to us. It sounds primitive, but they can see like everything, like night vision. So I think that's why these accounts, when people turn their back or what have you, and like I said, I'm not no pro at finding Bigfoot. Come on now. I mean, it's been years since I've been in the woods. I mean, for real. But if I remember correctly, there's a lot of weird, scary crap goes on. I hate to be blunt. And it can be very, let's just say, annoying. Okay? And when you can't see anything, and if you just have, primitive flashlights and a campfire, you're not really going to do too good. So when the rocks are being thrown, it's putting off a signal or vibration. Remember earlier when we first started this broadcast, there's a vibration. This guy was talking about vibration in the trees in his head. I kid you not, I think they use it. I kid you not. And I think something about cars, something about the lights, something about the engine, there's something about it that they're not picking up. So, I mean, if they get your scent of your scent, like your blood scent, like if they smell your stinky old corpse running around, I'm just joking, but if they smell it, I think that's why they deploy the rocks. I don't think they can actually see you, even if it's daylight, dark. That's just look, I'm not no expert, okay? I'm just throwing out just the way my mind works. I'm trying to observe it in a way that if it was me in real life in the woods. And I just think about that. Like, I've listened to different commentary. I read some FOIA documents, talked about particular things with sound waves and harmonics, and there's just no denying it. There is something to that, okay? So let's just face the facts. There's something going on. So I think if Bigfoot could use that to mask around and to evade the human, right? To evade and to stalk its prey, so to speak, with little, to us it'd be primitive and stupid, but it's like probably highly advanced. It's probably more advanced than sonar or more advanced than night vision goggles, and we're just sitting there laughing, but ultimately it's probably going in and out of some kind of portal-like situation, because there's air, right? There's water in the air, and I think controlling of the airwaves, right? Like, you feel me? You kind of feel where I'm going here? So there's my rant about that. So take it for what it is. There's my 2 cents on that. Just for fun, let's just go for one more, because I feel like I got one more left in me. Let's go one more. Y'all think I got one more in me? Y'all want to go for it? Y'all want to go for it? Brian Norman, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm a big shout out to everybody here. And T-Carp and in the woods right now. T-Carp's up in the woods. Hey, T-Carp, watch out, man. If the little pebbles get thrown at you. He's down in the backwoods of Tennessee right now in the woods, probably listening to the trees are cracking and popping because let's just say it, the tornadic weather or what have you coming down from the earthquake machines or whatever have you. Y'all think I'm crazy probably, but go look that stuff up. There's patents for it. I like to encrypt it. I like to do my little redneck Kentucky slang. Just throw it out there, throw out, and it's like, what is he saying? What's he saying? But yeah, T-Carp, get it done, man. Get it done. he's got it. Let's go. Oh, man. But it's really, thank y'all for being with me here today. I really do. T-Carp, gonna see you here soon, man. Very soon. I think in June. Well, the end of June. Come on now. I'm going to be discreet there. I gotta be quiet here online here. So, okay. So, let's do one more. Big state of Tennessee. The natives are in the chat. The natives in their chat. They're wanting one more. Let's just roll with it. Let's go to 1905. I'm going to go to 1905. That's when my great-grandfolks was alive in that time frame, in that realm of existence, and that time period. Okay? Let's get into it. So, 1905, season summer, date unknown, Tennessee, Carroll County. So, Carroll County, this is location in the southeastern corner near Dollar and the Vista communities. Okay? So, this woman, my great aunt, observing here, Ida Jones, told me that when she was young, about 1905, she and her brother and sister was walking around one night from a party when they saw a thing sticking out of the field beside the road. She said it was like a man, but was covered with dark fur. She said she could see the moon reflecting in his eyes. That's scary. Which implies that the eyes were set in front. Well, I pray so. Not on the side like a bear's. I made no noise, but I watched them, turning its head as it passed. The three walked home, arm in arm, with one walking backward to see if this thing was following them. It's interesting that it's an ant. It's a woman. Think, right? Come on. You got a female. They're the giants of old, the Genesis 6 narrative, right? The mighty men of old, the whole caboodle, right? Like the Genesis 6 feeling, right? You got the sons of God made with the daughters of men. Their daddies taught them how to do things, and they continued the traditions. And then, they lost their luster, I guess. I guess they couldn't figure it out. I guess they, the taking the women as they chose and had wives, their wives, and used them as a portal to bring in the great giants of old, through the mother's womb. How sick is that? And then also she, let's see here. Okay. Walk backward. Okay. Also, they noticed frequently heard in the neighborhood with the old folks called a catamote, some sort of wild animal that screamed like a woman. That's scary. And then another witness, she and her brother and sister going home from after a party, screams often heard in the woods like a woman screaming. And I think, honestly, I've heard this in my neck of the woods. I'm just going to let y'all know that. But I always thought it was a mountain lion because we have mountain lions, or just just a wild cat, right? Some crazy wild cat going around. But we do have mountain lions in my region now, and they've been extinct for supposedly 80 or 90 years, and they just show up a couple years ago because the trash cans let's just say at the local national parks didn't get full anymore because nobody was traveling. Imagine that. Imagine that. So yeah, we're about 47 minutes in. I wasn't going to go this long, but here we are. Bigfoot in Tennessee. It's a laid-back program. I hope you enjoyed it because I'm trying to do something different here. I just broke my hand on the tabletop here, but hey. Coffee black, cigarettes, start this day like all the rest. First thing that I'm going to do is probably drink a cup of coffee or two and before we get off here. But I'm going to give a shout to T-Carp's cracking me up with his commentary here on the chat. And that's pretty comical. But yeah, DGS MMA, good job, good seeing you, man. And Ruth, thank you so much for being here. And but yeah, bless you all abundantly. Thank you all so much for being here. Throwing out a few little things here before I conclude the program. Tonight, don't forget, Friday Night Live with David Carico in the house. Don't forget, here in a couple hours. Well, nope. I've got my dates and times mixed up. We got about an hour until that program. And then tomorrow night, don't forget, I'll be live with David Carico. David will be with me on the Midnight Ride. We have, John won't be there, but we will be asking, you can ask any question to David Carico, any question that you can ask in this reality for David Carico. So check that out tomorrow night on the Midnight Ride, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Sunday night, we'll be back. We're going to have a Lost Cities in Time marathon. So you're going to really enjoy that. It's going to be, let's just say, a 5-hour duration. But it's going to be a back-to-back 3 triple feature of our Cities Lost in Time series. So check that out if you haven't got an opportunity to do that, because I know you'll be really liking that, because I love Cities Lost in Time. We got a few more coming on. We got some in the burner, so to speak. But yeah, so check out the description below. Check out the links in the description below. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you all for letting me rant a little bit with you this evening. And what's that old song? What was that? Help me out, T-Carp. Help me out, boy. Come on now. You from the South. Come on now. I think it was Country Boy. I think it's a Country Boy song. I was about to sing a song on the way out. I haven't done that in a long time. People will frown, be like, what are you doing, bro? I can't do it, no, I don't think, because I made a fool of myself already when I made let's just say, a very bad approach at the beginning. I was laughing when I was trying to sing a little bit at the beginning of this program, so But yeah, I grew up down an old dirt road in a time you wouldn't know. I think that's all I remember. But yeah, but it's good to hear from you all, be in the chat. I thank you all for attending with me here on Visual Disturbance channel. It's always a blessing. Country boy can survive. Yeah. Everything. I don't know. Listen, Brian Norman, you're cracking me up. I will tell you this real quick. I seen something the other day I posted on my Facebook page. Big shout out to the Amish people. Big shout out to the Mennonite people out there. They can build anything in a few days. Okay? They can build anything. It don't matter. If you give them a template and some wood and some materials and some hammers, those guys can get it done. They can build a whole community like in 2 weeks. And meanwhile, back here in the reality world where people are, I'm not even going to go over there, where it takes like 25 months to get a house built, these guys come in, they building it, and it's going to last 200 years. I'm just throwing it out there. Big shout out to those folks because they can get her done. And they're going to survive the apocalypse. Yeah, so they'll be getting her done. So anyways, folks, and heck, they probably survived the Sasquatch invasion. But anyways, thank you all for being here with me this afternoon here on this impromptu live with Visual Disturbance. I just want to thank you all for attending with me here today. I won't rant anymore because I know that a lot of people get annoyed by that. A lot of people are like, what are you doing, man? Why can't you talk? But anyways, hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you back here on Visual Disturbance channel. Check out the links in the description. Thank you all for all the new subscribers here. I appreciate y'all being with me here. And all the Bigfoot enthusiasts out there, Bigfoot hunters, big shout out to you guys because I know y'all are putting your life on the line when it comes to these spiritual things. When these things are a nuisance, but I still have not figured out like why they're not seen on a massive scale. And like I said, my little quirky, thought-provoking analogies. I think that these people are, something is going on that we can't perceive it. We can't see it. And some of these Bigfoot researchers out here and these guys putting these traps and stuff, these guys are like on their A game. Speaking of T-Carp, big shout out to T-Carp, Travis Carpenter. His daddy was like at the forefront of getting stuff done and getting some hair follicle samples off the trees, etc. That is epic. I don't care what year it is. I don't care if it's 2045 or 2060 and the AI is taking over. Scott Carpenter will go down in history books that the hair follicles were extracted from I can't remember how he done it. Travis, forgive me, but how he extracted it around the tree, and what an honor, and probably that will go down in the, let's just say, Sasquatch history. So, with that being said, we be squashing it. We squashing it here today on this Friday afternoon, but I thank you all for being with me and attending with me this afternoon. Tennessee's in the books. We got Tennessee knocked out. We might come back and do some Google Earth imagery in the future, do some Tennessean, those natives to Tennessee. Big shout out to you guys, and big shout out to everybody out there. And but y'all just keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real. Stay away from the meal, the happy. I'm just rambling on. But until next time, little spray make you go cray. Stay away from it. It's hard to get away from it. Travis is out there in the woods right now. Watch out for the little spray make you go cray. The deniers out there, and the Bigfoot deniers, and the deniers that says there's no trails in the sky. Well, I pray for you. I pray that you can wake up and see that those things are a nuisance to our society. So, with that being said, Visual Disturbance, I am out of here. See you on the next one. I will see you here like an hour, but y'all be blessed. Visual Disturbance, I'm out. Like, share, hit that like button, throw this thing out, share it everywhere. I really appreciate it here, and thank you for allowing to be with me all this time since the beginning, and I appreciate everybody being so kind. So, well, for the most part. There's a few, but that's not kind. But, hey, 99% of the time, I got a good crew of folks here that come and go, and I appreciate you all for all walks of life, from all over New Zealand, all over God's country, and I thank you, and it's an honor, and God bless you guys, and we'll see you on the next Visual Disturbance, but until then, hey, like I said, a little spray make it go cray. Stay away from it. See you on the next one. Visual Disturbance, I'm out.
got one that can see.